What do you think fairness or equality looks like in the church amongst Christians? Well, like I said earlier, it's a lot harder to think about that today, right? And we can possibly go too far with it. Like, I think people in society are becoming louder about this. That should be fairness, in work conditions and living conditions all around the world. But the reality is this isn't true, and this isn't the way that God has allowed it to be. I just want to, maybe this is not what the question's asking, but it's helpful for us to understand. So the world is not in a fair state. It's because of sin, and sin is in the world, but you need to understand that sin is only in the world for a time. So God is only allowing this to happen to help us look forward to things in the future and to shape us in character and things like that. So sometimes, I'm not saying we shouldn't try to end poverty and things like that, and it's possible that we could do that. But however, we need to remember that God has made things the way it is for a reason. There's suffering here to help us to prepare for the future, and it's all because of sin. And God's going to take that away one day. We look forward to that. So that's important to say first. And secondly, I want to say that, and also Jesus said, remember, he said, as long as I'm not going to always be here, but poverty and that kind of thing is always going to be here in this age. So that's some things to think about. But however, there is things that we should think about in fairness. I think, first of all, start thinking about your own church. In what ways can you not think first of your own needs and think of the greater needs? And I think, God wants us to be evening that out, leveling it out, helping people who are in need, and within that, helping people just come to know the gospel. So I think, God wants us to try, at least in our lives, knowing that we won't fix everything, but we should try to make things fair, particularly when it comes to yourself. So if there's needs out there or there's ways to serve and you can do it, then maybe think about how you can do it. The needs of the church and God first before your own. That's just some ramblings about that. So hopefully that was helpful. Are there more questions? I can just open it up if you have any. You don't want to type? No? Well, maybe I'll just raise a question they had yesterday. Yesterday they talked about how do we know what to give to? Someone asked, and I think that's a super hard question. Like I said earlier, there's this people, we're bombarded all the time about things to give to, and I think that's a wisdom thing and a discernment thing. First of all, pray. Consider what God wants you to do, and what He says in His Word. May that shape what you do. But also do some research. If people asking, it doesn't take long. We Google lots of other things. Why don't we Google the things that they ask us about and see whether it's worthwhile, and then pray about it, think about it. I think that's a good way to do it. And also, just be aware that God puts things in your life for a reason. There's people around you. There's ways to give. And also considering the fact that we can't do everything, but we can certainly do something. So just committing to a couple of things, or maybe even giving to something for a time. Something me and Caitlin do is we have a tithing amount to our church, and then there's also now and again the occasional thing we give to, and that kind of helps with different people, and it's like a cool way of being able to help out and be a part of all different things rather than just always the same thing. But it's totally a wisdom thing. You can totally give to the same thing if that's what you want to do. So hope that's helpful. That's probably all we have for today in a Slate in the Arvo. So thanks for coming along.